Greetings nerds and virgins, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be going through the best UFC fighters to never win gold. But before we start, can you like and subscribe? I'm getting views, but I want some subscribers as well since I'm building a community here. So please subscribe to hop on the shadow train. Choo choo! Hop on the shadow train. But yeah. Also, I'm not going to be including people who won interim belts or the BMF belts in this video because in my eyes they're champions, as I suspect they are to you guys as well. So don't be mad when I don't say people like Colby Covington, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Jorge Masvidal, because Jorge won the BMF belt, they won interim. But anyways, first up we got the all-time consensus for the MMA GOAT, and that is Chael Sonnen. Yes, that's right. The undefeated American gangster from Westland, Oregon, maybe raw American steel twisted sex appeal. He may be the man of the hour who's too sweet to be sour, but one thing he was never was the UFC champion. Although being just inches away several times, like when he split John Jones's toe in half and when he was 1 minute away from beating Anderson the Spider Silva, he fell short both times against Jones. Let me tell you what happened in greater details real quick. So Chael Sonnen versus John Jones, there was more juice than Tropicana in that octagon that night, but still the bell rung and Jones pushes Chael against the cage right away with a wrestle heavy approach, which nobody expected Jones to fight an accomplished wrestler like Chael Sonnen that way. As Jones takes Chael Sonnen down, he literally snaps his big toe in half. Jones got the TKO at 4 minutes and 33 seconds into the round, meaning if Chael Sonnen just survived 27 seconds, Chael would have got the doctor's stoppage victory, which would have granted him the championship. Chael also said before if he got the win, he would have never gave Jones a rematch, which would have been the funniest shit ever. But up next, we got Yoel Romero. So the soldier of God, Yoel Romero, must be the most unlucky fighter of all time when it comes to winning the belt. With how close he's gotten several times, Dustin Poirier lost 3 title fights because he fucking sucks. Yoel Romero lost his title fights because of circumstances, not because of a skill issue like Louisiana swamp trash Dustin Poirier. Now let me run through the circumstances in which caused Romero to lose every single UFC title fight he's ever had. So the first title shot Yoel Romero ever got was against Robert Whittaker at UFC 213 in 2017. It was for the interim belt, but after a back and forth all-out war with Whittaker, Yoel Romero loses a very close decision, which was a literal toss-up. But all is good, since after that fight, Whittaker got injured, so Yoel fought Luke Rockhold for the UFC interim middleweight championship in 2018 at UFC 221. Yoel Romero viciously knocked out Luke Rockhold and then sexually assaulted him in the octagon, but unfortunately due to missing weight, he did not get the championship. Yoel after that fight then goes on a 2-fight losing streak against Robert Whittaker and Paulo Costa and gets handpicked by Israel Adesanya to fight him for the UFC belt. Knowing this would 100% be Yoel Romero's last chance for gold and that he was literally gifted the title shot, you would have thought he'd give it his all to win this fight. Wrong. This was the most boring fucking fight of all time and nobody threw a shit. Izzy won the decision, rightfully so to be honest. Like if you're in Yoel Romero's position and you choose to fight like that when it's your final shot at gold, you don't deserve the belt. But next up we got Joseph Benavidez. Yes, that's right, we got Megan Olivi's fiance up next, and in his prime he was the second greatest flyweight of all time, right behind Demetrius Johnson. He was known as Jiu-Jitsu for his slick Jiu-Jitsu, and he was also known for his speed. Now that you guys know what type of fighter he is, let's go through his UFC career. So after WEC merged with UFC, Joseph Benavidez went on a 3-fight win streak, including a win over Eddie Wineland. He then got a title shot versus Mighty Mouse and lost a very close split decision. Now I ain't gonna try and act like I watched that fight because I didn't really start watching MMA until January of 2019. Like I remember my first card watching was Cejudo vs TJ Dillashaw. But from what I've seen online is majority think Mighty Mouse won, but there's still a lot of people who saying Benavidez won. After that loss though, Benavidez went on another 3-fight win streak, this time including wins over names like Jessica Formiga and Ian McCall. After that 3-fight win streak though, Benavidez got another shot at the king himself, Mighty Mouse. And golly, this was a fucking mismatch if I've ever seen one. This time when Mighty Mouse and Joseph Benavidez fought, Mighty Mouse fucking one-shots him in the dome and sends Benavidez to the same dimension Emmett sent Mitchell. But this shows how good Mighty Mouse is, since after that fight, Benavidez goes on a 6-fight win streak, including wins over Henry Cejudo, Tim Elliott, and Dustin Ortiz. He then loses a split decision to Sergio Pettis, but no biggie, since after that he went on a 3-fight win streak, then fought Figueiredo for the flyweight championship. Figgy missed weight, so only Benavidez was eligible to win the championship. But no matter, since Figueiredo beat his ass round 2 TKO, but he didn't get the belt due to him missing weight. Benavidez says the weight played a huge role in the fight, so they did the instant rematch for the UFC flyweight title once again. This time Benavidez loses even worse than the first time. Like, that was one of the worst beatings in UFC history as well. And that was the final opportunity Joseph Benavidez would ever get at UFC Gold. But up next we got Alexander Gustafsson, the Mullah himself. So when Alexander Gustafsson got to the UFC, he went 1-1 after losing to Phil Davis. Yes, Gustafsson had to fight Phil Davis as his second ever UFC fight. That's how high they were on this kid. After that loss to Phil Davis, though, Gustafsson gathered a solid 6-fight win streak over people like Shogun Rua, Thiago Silva, and even the man who broke John Jones's elbows with his concrete head, Matt Hamill. After all those wins, Gus got a shot at the big dog, John Jones, for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. Nobody gave Gus a chance, but this unknown kid from Sweden showed up and put up a fight nobody in the world expected. He literally took Jones to the 7th layer of hell. After an all-time classic against John Jones, he ended up losing a very debatable decision, in which a lot of fans actually thought Gus won. Me personally, I thought it was close, and definitely wasn't a robbery. A robbery was Jones vs Reyes, but let me stay on track here. Gus later on got another title shot against Daniel Cormier, and once again he was getting counted out big time. Everyone thought Daniel Cormier and John Jones were so far ahead of everyone in the light heavyweight division, but Gus proved once again against Daniel Cormier that he's right up there with them. After an epic hard fought 5 rounds, Gus once again loses a very close decision, split decision, to Daniel Cormier, in which DC has said till this day was his hardest fight ever. After that loss, Gus went on to beat Jan and Glover before fighting for the UFC title one last time against his arch nemesis John Jones. Jones wanted to make a statement this time, but it was very clear the Gus he fought in that fight wasn't the same guy he fought a few years prior. Jones steamrolled him with ground and pound and knocked him out in round 3. Gus hasn't even won a fight since that loss to John Jones. But yeah, an honourable mention to Alistair Overeem as well, who also has never won the UFC title, but I think that's just due to him being in the UFC out of his prime. In his prime, he was a Strikeforce champion, which most people consider as valuable as a UFC belt anyways. But yeah, let me know if I missed anybody in the comments below, and if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe to hop on the Shadow Train. Choo choo! Hop on the Shadow Train. But yeah, see you at the chill.
They tried to break me, but you couldn't tear me apart. I've got a fire inside, gonna ignite and restart. I'm rising up higher than before. With every step I take, I'm closing in